Go on the record in Z 2396. This is a request for variation to reduce the minimum interior side yard setback from 40 feet to approximately 20 feet for the construction of two proposed parking lots. And the matter was published in the Daily Herald on January 3, 2024. No comments or objections have been received from any of the various municipalities or authorities. So that I don't forget later, I've been advised that a video was presented, I think by the petitioner. We don't accept videos or PowerPoints or anything of that nature because we are creating a public record. Our file constitutes a public record, and you have to have access to that public record. And if you don't bring the right equipment, you don't have access to a video. So we don't accept those as part of our record. There are, I think, substitute photographs of that capture some of the information that was presented in the video, as I'm told. And with that, I'll recognize Ms.
Mr.
West.
Chairman? Yes, just so you know, we did not submit any videos.
Somebody did, I don't
Yeah,
know.
one of the neighbors did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, let's start by identifying, let's have everybody sworn in that's going to speak.
Would you raise your right hands, please?
For lot two or just the petition?
Petitioner.
You do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give at this cause and out hearing be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes. Okay, and exhibits?
Yes, we have 4 exhibits tonight. We have our topographic survey, a site plan, an aerial photograph, and our standards for variances. So I have a packet for each one of you.
Great. Take those in order as petitioners 1, 2, 3, and 4.
And I have those marked here, Mr. Chairman.
You have marked 1, 2, 3, and 4?
On the packet that I will give to Jennifer, or to Jessica, they're already marked.
Okay, great.
That order.
I can pass that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Right here.
Oh, and I didn't make an extra.
I don't need one, thank you,
Okay,
though.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You.
Good evening. My name is Kathleen West of the law firm of Darmu, Cobine West, Gensler et al. And our law firm represents the Ajumi Asafi Mosque. The mosque wishes to expand its parking facilities, and this expansion will require a setback variation. With me tonight are Shabir Karmini, and he is a board member of the congregation. Hussein Koita. He is the owner's rep for this project and also a member of the congregation. And also Arimas Supkris, who is the engineer for the project, and he's with Morris Engineering. The mosque is located at 10S 252 Kingery Highway, also known as Route 53 in Hinsdale. It's on the west side of Route 83 and north of 91st Street. The property consists of 9.3 acres, and the property is improved with a mosque, a school, and parking. On the east side of Route 83, is a residential neighborhood. Also to the west of the property, that is also a single-family neighborhood. To the north and south of the property, there are 3 religious institutions there. All these properties are zoned R4 single-family residence district. This congregation was established in the early 1970s, and it now consists of 300 families. The mosque acquired its property in 3 parcels starting in 1997, and with the last parcel being acquired in 2011. In 2001, the mosque obtained a conditional use for a religious institution from DuPage County and constructed its facility. At that time, the minimum side yard setback was 20 feet. Subsequent to the construction of the mosque, the county revised the zoning ordinance to permit places of assembly. The mosque satisfied those 4 criteria and is now considered a permitted use a permitted use as of right in the R4 district. The mosque has determined that it is necessary to expand its parking facilities. Right now, to accommodate all of the vehicles, vehicles are parking in the vacant area behind the existing parking. So the mosque proposes to construct a 25 space parking lot in the southeast corner of the property. Thank you. And then 169 space parking lot to the west side of the property.
There's that part of it. We put one there here.
These parking lots will maintain. These parking lots will maintain the same setbacks, side yard setbacks as the existing parking and driveways, which is again 20 feet. When the property was developed, the minimum side yard setback was 20 feet. The current side yard setback is 40 feet. Therefore, the mosque is requesting a variation to reduce the side yard setback from 40 feet to 20 feet. The mosque submits that the requested variations satisfy the standards for the granting of the variations. The practical difficulty or particular hardship with respect to this property is the existing development of the property. Again, when the property was originally developed in 2001, the minimum side yard setback was 20 feet. If the 40-foot setback is maintained on the north side of the property, then it could negatively impact the detention basin on the site. If the 40-foot setback is maintained on the south side of the property, that could significantly reduce the amount of parking that's being provided. And you have to remember the whole purpose of doing this is to construct additional parking to remedy an existing parking shortage. You get that, Jeff? Okay, good. I just want to make sure everyone got their package. The properties adjacent to the north and south of the mosque property are also improved with places of worship. The reduced side yard setbacks do not negatively impact these properties. The requested variations will maintain the existing site design. The requested variations are in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning ordinance and not be injurious to the neighborhood, detrimental to the public welfare, nor in conflict with the county's comprehensive plan. Since the variations relate to the construction of additional surface parking, they will not impair an adequate supply of light and air to adjacent property, nor increase the hazard from fire or other damage to the property. The proposed parking is required to accommodate vehicles which now park on the unimproved portion of the property, which parking is really not very attractive. The additional parking will maintain the value of the surrounding properties and land. The variations are being requested so as to construct additional parking to accommodate existing parking demand. The proposed parking will not generate new parking demand and thereby will not unduly increase traffic congestion on the public streets and highways. The proposed parking will be designed and constructed in accordance with the county's stormwater management ordinances, so the potential for flood damage to adjacent property should be minimized. The proposed parking is accessory to the principal use of the property, Therefore, there should not be any additional public expense for flood protection, rescue, or relief. The requested variations will allow for the construction of additional parking, which will enhance the mosque and its property. This additional parking will not impair the public health, safety, comfort, morals, or general welfare of the inhabitants of DuPage County. The mosque with its 20-foot setback has existed for over 23 years. To our knowledge, these setbacks have not negatively impacted surrounding properties. The mosque simply wants to maintain its current side yard setbacks. Also, the mosque wants to construct additional parking so as to resolve the problem of insufficient parking. And this lack of parking does affect its neighbors. And again, I want to stress that the mosque has the right to construct the parking. It's just a question of the side yard setbacks. Based on the information provided, the mosque submits that it has satisfied the standards for the granting of the variations and requests that the zoning board of appeals recommend approval of the requested variations. We'd be happy to answer any questions, and we'd like the opportunity to respond to any public testimony.
Okay, could you just repeat your testimony or your argument concerning hardship and unique circumstance?
Well, that is due to the existing development of the property. And we've already built our facility, and if we meet those 40-foot setbacks, we're going this way. Now we're going to have to come down this way, and that can perhaps affect the detention, and it would reduce the number of parking spaces we would have.
If I may add to it.
Yeah.
Update from engineering side.
Excuse me, can you
Well,
spell your
I'm
statement?
asking for a legal argument.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I understand the facts.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, well, we'll take that under consideration. Anything else?
No, unless anyone has any questions.
Well, I'll go down the line. Mr. Ketter, do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Mr. Moran?
Not at this point, though.
Mr. Schultz?
Just to be certain in my head, there's an existing drive that's impeding, you already are built into the 40-foot zone because originally it was 20-foot.
That's correct. So what's constructed out there now is all within code. It's just what we're proposing to add. We would now need to increase our setback from 20 now to 40 feet.
Okay. All right, thank you.
But everything is in code right now.
Okay, Janice? Zane?
No questions, no questions.
Okay, any comments from members of the audience? 2, 3, 4 people? Okay, would you all stand and be sworn in? And if anybody wants to make any statements, you have to be sworn in, so neither of you want to make statements? Okay, 5 people then.
You do solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony about to give at this cause and out hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Okay, who'd like to go first? Okay, well, you know the procedure. For those others who have not spoken before us before, you have to tell us your name, spell your name, tell us your address, explain how close you are to the project. So we have some sense of your interest. And then tell us whether you support or oppose the petition. In a couple of words, explain why, and then you'll be permitted a few minutes to expand on your statement, support your statement. Okay, go right ahead.
My name is Linda Painter, Painter. I am president of the Timberlake Civic Association, which all of this resides in. And the neighbors asked me to come and comment on this. So, am I for it or against it? I'm okay with it providing we make some adjustments, so. kind of.
I couldn't catch that. You're okay with it?
Except if we want some adjustments made.
Okay.
So, the parking lot is sort of already there. It's just a gravel lot. And what we're happy about is that they're not expanding it westward towards our homes in our community. They're going north and south where there's other churches. I guess that's an easy way to put it. Anyways, the concerns we have are primarily lighting and flooding. So the lighting, what they're asking is that they put up a 8-foot stockade fence, and the Mecca church or Mecca mosque has had that previously when it came before all of you. And this is what Mecca put up, and this is behind the homes that back up to the Mecca parking lot.
And I think that is Painter Exhibit
Yes.
1.
And what we found out when I talked to the homeowners on the Mecca side over there, they said that they initially put up 8-foot stockade fence like this, and there was space in between, and they could still see the headlights of the cars. So what they ended up doing to make that, they put another either fence or plywood or something on the inside piece of the fencing so that those little lights don't shine through it. So that's the biggest. And Shamir, we talked, and I'm very grateful for him meeting with me and talking with me and I think we're sort of on the same wavelength with these kind of adjustments, because if you look on your map, the parking spaces all shine directly west. That would shine directly into the people's homes. And what we talked about also is these are right up against where the cars are. If,
Well, let's find out if it's an issue, since you've indicated you've talked to the petitioner. Ms. West, are you familiar with this?
I'm familiar with
Circumstance.
the issue, and we've talked about it. The mosque is very willing to work, understands the issue, and is going to try to work to resolve
Is it
it.
shown on, but it's not currently shown on your site plan?
No, it isn't.
that's our issue. It's one of the issues, is we want to make sure that the lighting, and the other request we had was, I don't have the map. Anyways, we're requesting that the lights, if there's going to be are there going to be new parking lot lights put up, or just the existing ones?
I mean, you know, we will have to match the county ordinance.
I'm just asking if there's new ones going to be put up.
In the new part, you would be.
Okay, so
What's your name, sir?
Aramus Butchus with Morris Engineering,
Spell your last name.
SPUCYS.
And your answer is you have existing
To meet,
light posts, you're adding light posts, or what's going on?
we'll have to add based on the county ordinance, yes.
Do we have existing light posts in the existing parking lots? So now we're gonna have to add that to the new parking lot.
Right, well,
But the photometrics will be provided, I think, to meet the,
let's see them on the site plan too. So we
Yes.
need a revised site plan to show the fencing, all fencing. Legend to indicate the kind of fencing, and then details about light standards, height, et cetera.
because what we're asking is that the lights, if there's going to be new lights, to place them on the west side of the parking lot so that they can put up shields on the west side of the light so it shines toward the parking lot and not toward the people's homes.
Okay, here's my problem. This is a request for a variation. We can't put conditions on a variation, so that whatever occurs has to occur on the site plan. We can disapprove if we think there's an intrusion onto the neighbors, but if that intrusion is ameliorated by the things that we're talking about, those facts, which accommodate the requests of the neighbors, have to be shown on the site plan. So
you know, there's not much that I can do to debate that issue. You just have to resolve it and then show it. Okay,
So, okay, then, what they did here, again, is they put up a fence, an 8-foot stockade fence, and they put trees, all these trees were put up by Mecca prior to the building of the whole thing, and so these neighbors seem to be very happy. The other thing is, the only discrepancy we kind of had was the location where the fence would be. It seems to be that the fence would have to be right by the cars that are facing that way, because there's a big decline.
you have the ability to bargain these details with the petitioner. We can't, we just sort of take the petition the way it comes. And
Do
vote
they
yes
have
or
a-
vote no.
Do they have a way of changing the
Sure.
site plan?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I just said they have to submit a new site plan.
Okay, all right,
So my suggestion is you just,
I can give
to the
this,
extent that you are inclined, communicate with Ms. West and resolve it.
okay. Okay, so and then the use of soft lights versus bright whites. The other issue is the flooding, because it's going to be a bigger parking lot and it's going to be paved. Obviously, that's a concern, and I believe this, neighbor is going to show pictures of the flooding that exists after the building of the parking lot at Mecca. And that's a big concern of the neighbors,
Yeah, I see
because
that.
they can't, yes,
They're not
that's,
exhibits, they're not hearing exhibits yet, but there are photographs that have been
Yes.
submitted. Flooding is obviously an issue.
yeah, because they can't get to their homes.
Well, I don't have anything from the stormwater department yet. So, we need additional information.
And there's also a wetlands. My understanding is that there's a wetlands in the corner of the property, therefore, obviously, they have to comply with the setbacks and all the buffers of a wetlands. That's really-
I'm just gonna quickly repeat the mantra that we've used at 1,000 hearings. DuPage County has the strongest, strictest stormwater requirements of any place in the state and maybe the Midwest and maybe the universe, I don't know. But there will be no incremental or additional water release because of the stormwater regulations. I can't do anything about it.
I understand that, you understand that, but when they built Mecca, and then they can't get to their homes, so they have a little bit
I
of problem.
completely agree.
Okay, that's all. Thank
Okay,
you very
great.
much.
Thank you very much. Who's this gentleman? wanted to-
Yes, my name is Craig Rohner. I reside at CRAIG Rohner, ROHNER. Residence 10 South 311 Jamie Lane. My property butts up in the corner to the property being discussed here this evening.
Okay.
So the lot line that they're looking for relief runs from the east to the west, which runs right along to the backside of my home.
Okay.
All right.
Do you want to state a support?
sorry?
You want to state whether you oppose or support, or you want to just make comments?
I'll support this with the understanding that the county lives up to its obligation for control of the water runoff. To date, that's been a little bit lax and still remains lax due to the increased runoff from the little bit of hard surfacing that's been done on the property. I built my home 36 years ago, so I have a long history of understanding the geography and the water runoff in the neighborhood and how it impacts us.
Okay.
Compliments to the county for the work on the Mecca project that resolved a tremendous amount of the water runoff that was originally coming across my property. Thank you so much. You did a tremendous job and we committed for it. Okay, the county held up. However, there is still a river water that runs down that lot line and floods into my neighbor here, Rosa, yard and my yard. If that can be addressed, again, I am in complete agreement with moving forward with the property if that water issue is resolved. I have had to go to putting railroad ties and logs along that lot line to keep the water erosion from entering in my yard. I have to direct the water down that lot line to the storm basin at the end of the lot.
So,
I-
are there any other issues other than, the stormwater condition?
Well, I would just concur with Ms. Painter's comments about the lights and how value that would be, when it's not relevant. I won't go into detail about that, but the flooding and the water coming off that property definitely has to be addressed. And I don't know, I've had conversations with Paul Haas and others in the stormwater runoff.
Right, let me just explain something. I share your concern for stormwater. In my area, my neighborhood, it affects my house, your house certainly, based on what I presume will be exhibits at some point in this hearing. But I have no control over that. The stormwater department and the petitioner work on engineering calculations to determine whether the petitioner's project will comply with stormwater regulations. So what we do, if the stormwater department says, nope, this is impossible, obviously that's one of the concerns for zoning. If the stormwater department says all systems are go, we have to take that as a given. So, I mean, I feel a little, this mega government of DuPage County, it would be easier for me to say, I don't control that. It's not something that I can manage. And that's kind of what we're stuck with. So if I were you, I would be in touch with the stormwater department. I will ask for a detailed evaluation on behalf of the zoning board. But make your concerns known to the stormwater department relative to this petition.
Thank you very much. There has been some communication with regard to that. I have emails to the effect that I've contacted the different people in that department about this. However, it's not been resolved, so we need to further evaluate.
I get it.
It's not your job.
Right. Well, yeah, I know. And I feel very awkward about saying, well, it's out of my control, because it is a huge concern. I get that part. But it's not my job.
It's out of our scope
Right,
on there, but may I say something?
certainly.
We do have in attendance your county board member, District 3, Lucy Chang Evans, who is one county board member, an engineer, and used to work at Stormwater. So I know Lucy will fight for you and discuss that and make sure that those things are brought forward when it goes to county board or from here. So where our scope may be limited, hers isn't.
Okay, terrific.
So
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody who wants to be next?
I will. My name is Larry Centers, 10 South, K Lane, unincorporated Willowbrook,
Can you spell your last name?
Senters.
You're what? Who do you represent?
I'm a neighbor. He lives directly behind the proposed mosque and I live one house to the north. So a couple of years ago, they cut down all these trees. All this water comes down. There's 15-foot elevation change on there. Well, the rest of with the storm water, I got that. But all this water is just coming down and it's certainly a concern with mine along with the blacktop driveway. And my lighting problem, and again, I've dealt with Shabir. Shabir has been nothing but helpful to me. But the lighting is a huge problem. We're having lighting into our houses, it's disrupting. The lights are on all night long. And Shabir said he would take care of that too. And hopefully we'll resolve that issue too. The lighting that comes into our house, these car lights is 15-foot higher. There's no barrier on this. The lights are shining right into our house. This is shining into my house. Every time a car comes by, this car was out there for 1 hour sitting in there. I got video of him. I got other stuff that he was just there for an hour. Every time the cars leave, you get these flash of lights just hitting you inside of your house.
Is this fence going to resolve your concern, sir?
I hope so. And then the building lights, and the building, the parking lights being on all
I mean,
night.
the fence
The
that is
fence would be a
being
great
discussed-
idea.
Hold on, the fence that is being discussed, assuming that it's built, will address your concern. I'm not saying it'll be 100% solution, but you're not talking about a different area of the property. You're talking about the same area that,
Exactly where the parking
Discussing
right
this
now, and the
fence.
parking lot's gonna be there. And I do not oppose the parking lot.
all right, fine.
I did, but
You
the
wanna
lights,
Make those exhibits?
I would like to. These lights are on all night long. They're on till, this is 1 o'clock in the morning. I took this
And
photo
those are,
of the parking lot lights that are on there and the building. Everything is lit up in the backyard. So there's, there was some really bad lights before where it lit up our whole neighborhood where they had all these lights, and Shabir was able to take care of that and fix that problem. But I just wanted to make sure that we're having it on the record that these lights will be taken care of and they'll no longer be a problem. And I have no problem.
I don't know how many times
I know, I didn't know that until you came here.
I cannot create conditions,
I got that now. Well, I didn't know that before I came. I'm apologize on that.
but this is sort of a good neighbor discussion here rather than a zoning.
I agree.
So can we do something to resolve this? And then to the extent that that resolution involves lighting standard shields or something of that nature, show it as a legend on the site.
You can do that.
That'd be wonderful.
Thanks.
Thank you. Timothy,
Whatever your last name is.
Centers.
What's your last name?
Larry Centers.
This will be Centers Group Exhibit number 1.
Thank you so much.
Right, yeah, Ms. Anderson.
So if I can ask a question, so the lights being on at 1 o'clock in the morning, is that for security purposes, which I understand?
Yeah, it is. And I think we didn't realize the impact to the neighbors until more recently. But it's for security purposes. We don't want people just in the parking lot being able to come to the mosque and vandalize or do something wrong, right? So.
But unfortunately, again, they're 15
But
foot
hold
higher
on,
than us.
Hold on.
Sorry.
That is, maybe beneficial information, but again, it does not relate to the zoning issue of
Understand.
of setback for this parking. So I don't want to give the impression because because we're concerned about it, that we can, deal with it in the zoning petition. Okay, you, sir? Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Could I tell the court reporter the name of the gentleman who just spoke?
I was gonna get it at the end, but sure, that'd be great right now.
It's Shabir Karmini, Shabbir Karimi.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's good, because I didn't even hear him speak, so I didn't. All right, you, sir?
Okay, my name is Gerald Palese,
Can you spell your last name, please?
Palese.
Thank you.
I'm on K Lane, right in back of where they want to build this parking lot. And I'm opposed to it for a lot of the same reasons my neighbors have. We have a light problem. It's been better. This man here has helped us, but the lights are so bright. And like Larry said, they're 15 foot, 20 feet up higher. And they come right into my kitchen window, especially when cars come through. So the same concerns, a fence is the right option there.
Okay.
And for water, well, we have ponds in there in our backyards to take in 2, 3 streets that come flowing down. Now, somewhere along the line, I have seen trickle of water coming after they cut the trees down. So it's wet in the back there and they're full all the time.
So same concerns,
Right,
lighting and stormwater.
right,
Thank you, sir.
okay.
Now, the lady behind me.
Yes. Hi, my name is Rasa Tharp, Rasatharp. I'm at 10S267 K Lane. So I would support the parking lot with a few conditions, and I understand that if the board is not allowed to make conditions, this is my ask of you. And even if it costs more money to put a permeable parking lot, I think that's the right thing to do. We had such an increase in water flow or stormwater from the Mecca's parking lot. And I think that the permit was issued so quickly and so easily that no one really opposed it initially. I think it's we've been working with the county for over 2 years to rectify the flooding issue. And up to this point, they still don't have enough money in the budget to rectify it. I don't think it's fair for the neighborhood to have their taxes to be increased to rectify this issue. So this is what it looks like after the rain, okay?
Okay,
Are
these your exhibits?
These are mine, yes. I emailed those and I think you might have them.
We'll take
as well.
them as hearing exhibit,
Okay.
your last name exhibit.
Sure. So, these pictures were taken on different days. This is not one time it flooded and this is what it looks like. Different years, different dates, different times, okay? So we are out there cleaning the drain to make sure that it flows as much as possible. And you can see we're up to our knees in water. We're not talking about, an inch or two. We have to either go with our boots or put a wetsuit on, and it's still up to our knees. This is in front of our house. This drain in front of our street drains into the pond of our backyard and takes up the run of the water from K Lane, from 89th and 90th Street, and also I believe Jane's Lane, right? Jane's Lane. So here's one. I don't know if everyone can see it.
Well, okay, we have
Okay.
all these photos.
Okay, all right,
You need to mark these photos to show,
okay.
I mean, I don't know if this is,
This is K Lane.
okay, you
This
gotta
is,
mark
this,
them. You
okay,
spend your time, rather than going over the same
Mhm.
information that we've
Okay.
heard, spend your time marking each of the photographs to show the
I can-
address
I
of
can
the
resubmit.
photograph and the date when it was
Okay.
taken.
okay.
And you took these, I guess.
Yes, my husband did, my mom did, yes.
Fine.
And so just to explain while we're here, this is how much water we get. We literally get a river flowing between our homes. And it goes from Craig's home to K Lane, a whole river. And I'm not talking about small little puddles, inches of water. So this is between the homes. And then the whole backyard is flooded, even though we do have a retention pond spanning over 3, 4 homes. It's so full and it's still flooding huge amounts of water. It's just not enough to drain the water. So my ask is to either, if you're putting the parking lot, to not pitch it towards the homes, but away towards the Kingery, to have a permeable surface instead of concrete or instead of asphalt. My ask would be to put pine trees between the wall. So basically, so we aren't looking at a wall, we're actually looking at a greenery. So we would ask if you put pine trees and then the wall to block the light. To make a comment for the other neighbors that are bothered by the lights. Personally, my bedrooms are not facing that way, so yes, we see the lights if we are in the kitchen, but because we're not in the bedrooms, we're not really bothered all that much. But for the other neighbors, when like, let's say when people are not in the parking lot, because at 1 o'clock in the morning, probably not a whole lot of people are there, more towards like evening. Can the lights be turned off halfway, or can the lights, can you turn off every other so there's not as many of them? Like, these are just possible suggestions.
So this is kind of like a neighborhood meeting,
I'm so
and
sorry.
that's nice. I don't live in the neighborhood, but it's of interest. Here's what I would ask Ms. West. Would you please consider, don't respond now, please consider one of the paving alternatives that would permit the water to be saturated into your property, which I think is Grasscrete or something is one alternative, various other alternatives. And then take into consideration some of the information that you've heard with respect to lighting and see what you could do, if you would.
We will do that.
May I make
Okay.
another recommendation such as yours
Sure.
to
Sure.
the petitioners? Besides your two county representatives here, Linda Painter and Lucy Chang Evans, Minority Leader John Curran represents this area. There is many, many ways to go after public work funding, different kind of grants through the state of Illinois for stormwater. I would ask them to go take you to meet with Senator Curran and see what they can do for you on the state level for some of these permeable driveways, work on flooding. It might be beyond what the county can do, although the county is responsible, but maybe there needs to be more input. So I would go the next level of state government and go see State Senator Minority Leader John Curran. And I know the ladies will take you in to see him.
So another kind of like neighborhood comment. If
Oh, no,
you,
please.
okay.
We understand your concerns, and all I'm suggesting is that there be some communication. I don't, I'm not sure that the zoning board can go quite so far as to organize meetings of various elected officials, but we'll leave that to you in the
We'll take care
nature
of
of
that.
request for cooperation. So, is there no other comments from neighbors? I'll go back to any questions from members of the board.
I have a quick question.
Okay,
On the site plan or whatever, the different ones, you have 3 buildings in the area you're proposing for the parking lot. Is that correct?
There's is the house still there?
Or 2 buildings?
The buildings, oh, hold on, let me check.
Yeah, the buildings in the back, they've been removed, there's a county permit and they were demolished, just recently. It was part of the addition project in the front, the school addition, and part of that, that impervious area was removed.
You
It's,
know, none of your other site plan, everything else still show these buildings.
are the surveys current?
The work
The
was
bu-
just
just
done.
done, yeah.
It was current when the buildings were there, when the surveys were done earlier this year.
Okay, well, then we don't need,
We'll,
we don't need an updated survey. We can resolve that problem, but the site plan has to be accurate.
Yes.
All right, maybe we should, I don't know if we need a new hearing for this or a supplemental. I think we should have another hearing. Because there's gonna be some significant give and take presumably. And, that will result in modifications to the site plan, which are likely to be somewhat significant. So can you give us a date for another hearing?
We have February 8th, I think. That one's then.
Can you have the new site plan done by, well, can you have this discussion, decisions and documents by February 8th?
February.
so you need
I
two.
mean, we can
2
move
weeks
it till
before?
mid-February.
You need 2 weeks before or no? All the documents, when you guys need them submitted to the county.
Well, I'm not gonna, no, 2 weeks is before, our 2 week requirement relates to recommendation hearings. You can bring in your exhibits the night of February 8th.
What would be another date, Jessica, that we could do this? Because I have another hearing already scheduled for that night.
Okay, well, fine, then we won't do it February 8th. What's next?
The rest of the days, the 15th or 22nd.
Your call, 15th or 22nd. Certainly, there's no, why don't we make it the 22nd? There's no, urgency, given the season.
Okay. Is that okay?
I think the sooner the better, but 15th is fine with us.
15th we can go with.
We can do the 15th if that's okay.
Okay, we'll resume, we'll adjourn this hearing and reconvene February 15th at 6 o'clock in this room. Okay, thank you very much.
We're adjourned for the evening.